Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome back to another round of the Fantasy F1 season, and today we will be holding the Belgian Grand Prix in Zolder, Belgium, contrary to Spa-Francorchamps for the round 5 of the F1 Fantasy season of 2022. And as we see here, the track name Circuit Zolder. 70 laps will be held at the 4.01 kilometer circuit with 15 turns with one DRS zone in the circuit, and make that 16 turns, not 15, at elevation of 19 meters as well. A very interesting track for today's race. Now taking a look at the compound for today's race, we have the C4 being the soft compound tire, the C3 and the C1 being the hard compound tire. So there is one C2 in between the C3s and the C4s. Now looking at the starting grid in the back, we have P20 Alexander Albon and P19 Esteban Ocon. P18 for Valtteri Bottas and Fernando Alonso, and P18 and 17. P16 will go to Nicholas Latifi, and P15 will be Yuki Tsunoda. The two Haas pairs of Kevin Magnussen and Mick Schumacher starting 14th and 13th. George Russell starting down in P12 alongside Daniel Ricciardo in 11th. Then we have Lance Stroll, the first of the top 10, and Guan Yu Zhou in P9. Next we have Pierre Gasly, P8 alongside Lewis Hamilton in P7. Next we have Sebastian Vettel, P6, and Sergio Perez in P5. Vettel having a great qualifying, putting himself in P6. The Ferrari pairing of Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, 4th and 3rd today's grid. And we have Max Verstappen alongside the pole sitter Lando Norris. Will we see Lando Norris repeat victory here in Zolder as the lights are about to go out now? And then that's a great start from Lando Norris, but on the outside is Max Verstappen, who will swoop right on the outside and has a better start and will move up to the first position. And we see Lando Norris struggling for grip as the two Ferraris overtaking each other. And as we see now, Max Verstappen having a huge lead into the first lap of today's race. Lando Norris really struggling on that compound of tire, and the Ferraris will try to challenge Lando Norris into turn number 3. George Russell trying to make some moves in lap 5 of today's race, and as we see, he's sizing up a move on Lance Stroll into the chicane. Will he make the move stick? Round the outside, not the preferred line inside of the chicane, and he will make the move round the outside of Lance Stroll and makes another position in today's race up to P12 so far. More of the same here as George Russell will try to make a move on Yuki Tsunoda for another position, and he cuts the chicane. Oh, and there's contact. Oh, Yuki Tsunoda goes off. Let's see what happened with Yuki Tsunoda's onboard. As we see, he has the line into the chicane. He holds the inside. However, he has to make a move as George Russell basically dives him around the outside, making several contacts, cutting the chicane in the process, and sending Yuki Tsunoda into the grass and effectively ruining his race for today in Zolder. And as we now look and see at George Russell's point of view, his onboard, let's see if we can figure out what went wrong here. He's going down the straight on the outside, and it seems like he just comes in a little bit too hot and has to cut the chicane and basically collects Yuki Tsunoda in the process. A VSC has been deployed though, and it seems like Russell's car is okay for the moment. So far, nothing has been said about Russell's incident against Yuki Tsunoda. However, he is now challenging Zhou Guanyu for the position in which he will with ease around the outside into turn number 1. P9 now goes to George Russell, lap 13 of 70 in Zolder for today, and we'll see if there will be any time penalties because of that incident. Oh, and it seems like Perez is sizing up a move on Charles Leclerc, who forces him wide. However, we have now news. No investigation necessary for the contact between George Russell and Yuki Tsunoda. As we see now, Charles Leclerc holding the inside, and Perez goes around the outside and goes into the gravel. Oh, and he loses and he bends the car in sector 3, and that will bring out a yellow flag and surely a safety car. He has bent the car, and in the grass, he can't get it fired back up. This may bring out a safety car. And as we take a look at the replay to see what happened with Sergio Perez's car, as he gets on the grass a bit, and that causes instability to the car, and he just loses it. And he is reporting it was a brake failure that caused the spin and him going into the grass. Oh no, and there's another Red Bull driver out of the race, and this time it's Max Verstappen, and will bring out a safety car.
Fucking dickhead! Jesus Christ!
As we take a look now, George Russell on board, as we see he's now fighting a position against Pierre Gasly, as a 5-second time penalty has been handed out to Nicholas Latifi for causing a collision, and George Russell will go down the inside before the chicane and will make the move stick against Pierre Gasly. Now moving up to P6, George Russell making very good moves throughout this race. Battle for another Lewis Hamilton trying to get into the second position, as we see his last few races have not been the best, but there he goes against the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz around the outside. He will make the move stick. We will see now if he can catch Lando Norris, who's right up the field. The pace of the Mercedes have been very mighty for today's race, and he's now sizing up for the lead. Here it is. Lewis Hamilton will go around the outside into the chicane and will make the move stick against Lando Norris. The fight has been complete to P1, and now we'll see if he can drive off into the distance with the win. George Russell now making a move on the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. He will go into the chicane round the outside, as he's been doing throughout the whole race, and he makes the move stick, as Leclerc's tires are now absolutely dead. He can't do anything to hold off the charging George Russell. Mick Schumacher be able to put himself into the points as he goes down the inside in the chicane. Oh, they make contact against Lance Stroll, but he still makes the move stick. We'll see if there will be any investigation necessary, but Mick Schumacher for the moment is into the points. With a few cars that are a lap down in front of Lewis Hamilton, he will come to the final straight, and since Tuscany, he will win another race in the F1 fantasy season, and he takes the victory here in Zolder, Belgium, in the Belgian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton is the winner for the race.
Yes! Get in there, Lewis, man.
What a great job, guys. This goes to everyone back at the team, in the factories. Thank you so much for continuing to push this year. I'm so inspired by you guys.
We have just witnessed another amazing race in the F1 fantasy season, as Lewis Hamilton will come home to take the win here in Zolder, Belgium. Lando Norris will come up short of a win, finishing today in P2. Carlos Sainz will round out the podium in P3 for Ferrari. Not the best day for the Italian side. George Russell P4, P5 for Charles Leclerc, P6 Sebastian Vettel, P7 for Pierre Gasly, P8 for Daniel Ricciardo, P9 for Guan Yu Zhou, and to round out the points, it is Mick Schumacher in 10th. Then the following drivers we have Stroll, Magnussen, Bottas, Latifi, Alonso, Ocon, Albon, Verstappen, and Paris, the two Red Bulls DNFing today. And finishing in the last is Yuki Tsunoda, who was crashed out by George Russell. To take a look now at the Drivers' Championship, Charles Leclerc will still hold the lead over Carlos Sainz to make it a Ferrari 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton charging up to P3 with 56 points, now also fighting for the championship and is within grasp of Charles Leclerc, with Lando Norris falling to P4 after finishing P2 in the race, and the top 5 is closed off by Sergio Perez with 44 points for Red Bull. Now taking a look at the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari still hold the lead for the moment against Red Bull, 143 to 198 points. McLaren in P3 with 80, 75 points goes to Mercedes. Alpine in the top 5 with 51 points. Then we have Alfa Romeo, Haas, Aston Martin, AlphaTauri, and Williams in the bottom 5. So guys, that has been another race for today on the LX7 channel. Hope you enjoyed. And if you want more content and more races, please subscribe and like the video to see more from us.